Joining us now is Ankush Khardori, former federal prosecutor and contributing writer for Politico magazine. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So one of the things that I found most surprising in this very exhaustive, very well-reported piece on the Attorney General is just how much of a political, I won't say actor or maybe savant, but how sensitive he is to the political trade winds. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I think the public understands him, at least at this point, to be so decidedly apolitical.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that was really one of the things I wanted to get through in the piece. Because there is this notion that this is the judge, you know, he's devoid of politics, he's outside of the political realm, but he's had a career that has been intertwined with the fortunes of the Democratic Party. It's no accident that a lawyer just becomes the Attorney General, not even the most brilliant, gracious, kind person. He has friends in politics, he's been in and out of political legal circles for decades. And he has people who are deeply enmeshed in like the Clinton world and the like. So there's that, which is about his biography and his history. And I think secondarily, and this is sort of the latter half of the piece, is really, well, how are politics or political considerations sort of hanging over his tenure at the Justice Department, and how might they be influencing him for better or worse?
Yeah. I mean, given that, when we have all the news, the swirl around Biden and his possession, willful or not, of certain classified documents, lesser in number, the situation is again different, but nonetheless, finding classified documents at various residences or the office that he was using. I mean, for Garland, it is already such a complicated landscape. Do you feel like he is trying to really compensate for the fact that there is seemingly a looming criminal indictment over President Trump by being particularly aggressive on the Biden investigation?
You know, I don't know if there truly is a looming criminal indictment. Obviously, we're in terrain where that's a very real possibility.
Or at least the possibility of it, I guess.
Correct. I mean, there's a special counsel was named last November, given a mandate on two significant areas. So I think that's one way of interpreting it. I think another way of just sort of thinking about it is, look, last August, he took an extraordinary step searching a former president's home with the FBI. And then lo and behold, a few months later, he gets told by Joe Biden's lawyers, oh, we have some documents of our own.
Yeah.
I don't know this man particularly well. I did my best to channel him. If it were me, and I expect on some level him, he must have been irate. Because here he is going out on a limb, doing something truly unprecedented, generating all this political controversy and heat. And now it's just been sort of mucked around with as a result of Biden's conduct.
When we talk about the two special counsels he's appointed, I mean, Jack Smith is a special counsel who's overseeing the investigation into Mar-a-Lago and January 6th, President Trump's role in both. Robert Hur is the person that Garland has chosen to look into the Biden documents situation. He is a decidedly more political actor. Do you think that that reflects he's a partisan in a way that Jack Smith is not, just in terms of political donations and his role in the Trump administration. Do you think that that reflects anything in terms of Garland's, I won't say sense of a punitive streak in Garland, but you think that he might have been actually frustrated by the disclosures from the Biden administration?
I mean, I imagine he was. And to your point about, you know, this person having a more significant political profile than Jack Smith, I mean, he was a political appointee in the Trump administration. I don't think it's an accident. I do think there's some effort to kind of make sure that if this investigation is going to happen, he can do his best at sort of placating people who may be skeptical of it, including by putting a Trump appointee in charge of it. I mean, obviously, the person who had it before, John Lausch, was also a Trump appointee, U.S. attorney in Chicago, who's since left. And honestly, I think that's one of those decisions that does reflect his sensitivity to public perception and the politics swirling around him, despite what many people have said.
You make this really key point that early on in his career, he's very concerned about the institutional integrity of the Justice Department. There was the media circus around O.J. Simpson, and then he is tasked with managing the response to the Oklahoma City bombing. And this is kind of a story of how to, you know, not resurrect, but represent to the American public the efficacy and the importance and the institutional integrity of the DOJ. It feels like we're in another moment in terms of Garland and the DOJ and what where we're going from here, right? We have this attack on our sort of the institutions of democracy. There's a real, at least in some corners, skepticism about institutional integrity at the FBI and the DOJ. Here's a chance to restore that integrity. Do you think Garland is looking at it in such a high-stakes manner? It doesn't feel like he wanted to have to take on Trump at the outset of his career as AG, and now he finds himself in almost an impossible position.
The people who know him well will tell you that he understands all this. He gets the political stakes. I have a hard time squaring that with the actual record, because, as you say, something hugely significant happened on January 6th. Joe Biden took office a couple weeks later. A couple months later is when Merrick Garland takes office. My own view, as an observer, is that at that point in time, there should have been a very aggressive and robust investigation into the Trump White House and the Trump campaign concerning January 6th and the months-long campaign leading up to it, and also the financial sort of shenanigans, but particularly January 6th. And your analogy is a good one, but, at a terrorist attack, there's going to be no question that there's going to be an aggressive law enforcement response. This was different. I think a comparable sort of level of responsiveness and aggressiveness should have been brought to bear, not to be overzealous or irresponsible or anything like that, but that didn't happen. And I think 2021 and a significant part of 2022 appear, and we don't know exactly everything that went on in the Justice Department, appear to have gone by with them kind of hoping that they wouldn't have to deal with Trump head on.
Yeah, well, thanks, January 6th committee. Those televised hearings changed the landscape as far as how we think of January 6th. Former federal prosecutor Ankush Khardori, thank you so much. Great reporting.
Thank you.